Well, guys, what is up? Welcome to another edition of House Rules Podcast. I am your host, Alex Getlin.
I'm your other host, Rachel LaForce.
She is full of energy. She's excited to be here. She's
here.
This is not our usual time slot, as you guys know if you watch. We're doing another bonus episode. We did one yesterday, and we figured, why not? We're just sitting at the house.
We literally have nothing to do. But we literally have nothing but time.
We've been furloughed from work. Stand-up is dead in the water. Hollywood is on hiatus. Why not do another podcast?
We're here.
How you feel since yesterday?
Not great. I'm gonna be honest. I'm gonna be funny. I'm gonna be fun. But I'm not super.
Well, you did.
chipper.
You did see something this morning that kind of.
I'm gonna turn this off because this isn't.
It's not working.
No.
Okay. She was trying to do Instagram Live.
Just a waste of everybody's.
What happened? What was wrong with it?
I don't want to get into it.
Okay. Well, Instagram, fix your platform. So anyway, you saw something this morning that on the drive over that you thought was kind of cute and adorable. Oh, she's still fiddling with that. I'll tell everybody what it is.
What was it?
The Elmo thing.
Oh my God. So cute. I don't know what it is. Just knock it over. It's fine.
What?
It's fine. I'm just over everything right now. Just leave it. It's fine.
I know, but it's your phone.
It doesn't matter. It's basically broken anyway.
Okay.
Yeah.
Off to a great start here.
So it's the like not so late show with Elmo.
Yeah.
And
so it's like a late night show, but at more normal hours.
That's what I would assume. I just saw the billboard and I thought
it was
not
not so late show. What is not so late for the Elmo demographic? Like 5:30?
I was going to guess 4.
Okay, yeah.
I don't know.
Elmo really was kind of the breakout star of Sesame Street, huh? Right?
Yeah, but I feel like Cookie Monster also, Big Bird. I mean, I feel like there's some strong competition.
Big Bird was sort of like the OG Sesame Street character, right? Cookie Monster's always been like a solid number 2, but I feel like Elmo was the dark horse. Elmo came later, broke away from the bunch. You know what? Elmo is the Justin Timberlake of Sesame Street.
Okay.
I feel like you don't have a hot take on that?
No.
Well, yesterday was all heavy topics of conversation, so I figured I was going to try and
lighten it up with Elmo NSYNC pairings.
Yeah. Well, I will say this. There's nothing to do on July 4th, which is tomorrow. If you're listening to this later in the world at some point, today is July 3rd, 2020. And there's nothing. We tried. We looked and looked if we can go camping, some kind of social distance, anything. And, man, they really put the kibosh on anything fun in the greater LA area. I guess I don't fault them. Well, I mean, I don't know. I don't want to keep talking about COVID stuff. So
that's what I challenge you again, where you're like, I don't want to talk about anything. Like yesterday, you were so disgruntled. You're like, oh, this is so serious. And I'm like, okay, then what do you like? Do you want to go to a different planet and do a podcast there?
You're right. I know.
Like, I don't know what to offer you.
Well, I'll share some good news. I saw something cool. I thought.
Okay.
The Redskins, the Washington Redskins football team, is finally about to change their name. They're having serious, I think the official language they use is like they're taking a serious look at changing the team's name. You shake your head like.
I just don't. Like at this point, it's like any of that. Just go, we get it. It's done. We've changed it. Like a serious look, you know that it's problematic. You've known that for a very long time. Like serious look, that shouldn't even be a meeting. Shouldn't even be an email. Just everybody, this is our name now.
It's weird that it's taken this long to.
I mean, it is and it isn't. It's like it takes that's a lot of rebranding. It's a lot of money. It's a lot of time. It doesn't have anything to do with.
It's always money.
It's always a money thing. It's not necessarily like, oh, we have this,
Well, I guess what happened is FedEx, which it's FedEx Field where the Redskins play, they put the pressure on where they're like, hey, so it was something to the effect of like, we're going to pull our naming sponsorship rights or whatever it is. So that's what really did it. It wasn't like this, call to like moral action. It was.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the thing. Like, just everything that's going on right now, with branding, and it's like, oh, we're going to do this now. And then it's like, it's all just temporary bullshit to get people to like calm down.
Yeah.
Like it feels like, where it's like there's never been a time that somebody's told a woman to calm down and then it's like eased her nerves.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like anytime.
So that's like us as society now?
Yeah. Like everybody's just like, all right, look, hey, calm down. We're going to change this thing for like 2 weeks and we're going to call it progressive change.
Yeah.
And then we're going to go back to doing things the way that we do. Okay?
Well, the only thing I think is odd is that they're like, we're going to take a 3-week break and then try again. Why? Like, what is going to be different?
Oh, here in LA?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry for being so sour today, but I just am so over.
Okay. I understand.
Everyone.
I'll be the chipper one today. You can be the sourpuss and I'll be happy pants or whatever.
I just think it's bullshit.
Yeah.
I think it is such like, I mean, it's also like, there's nothing that they could do, right, that everybody would be happy with, number one. Like, I recognize that. There's nothing. What do you need?
Where'd I put my water? I had a water bottle somewhere.
I don't know,
Did I
but
move
there's
it?
one right here. Or
Oh.
maybe you could just take
It's by
that one.
It's by my feet. I got it. Sorry. We're all over the place today at House Rules. What were you saying? I'm sorry.
I also want to tell everyone our I was just going to say I wanted to tell everybody what I wanted your nickname to be, but then I was like, well,
you could tell him it's fine. Rachel she wants to call me No Chill, like No Chill, but just start calling me No Chill, like it's
No
a
Chill.
name.
And that makes
How
me
am I
laugh.
No Chill? You knocked over the tripod in anger because you couldn't get your Instagram Live to work.
Well, I didn't say that I don't have issues. I just was giving you a nickname.
All right.
I'm not, absolved of all, but I don't know why that brings me so much joy of being like, No Chill. No Chill. Wait, what do you call him? No Chill. How's it spelled? Like no chill. That's so funny to me.
Okay. I do.
No, but going back, there's nothing that anybody could do that would suffice everyone, because there's still people who feel like their civil liberties are being taken away by being asked to wear a mask, which I don't even have energy to go into that debate.
I have an article to show you in a bit. So we do our normal segments. So because it's a bonus app, I don't have the normal segments. That's for Mondays. But I did find a couple articles in the vein of Rachel Learns the News. Stuff that yeah. It
is amazing that I haven't started drinking again. Do you know what I mean?
How long you been sober? How long?
It'll be 3 years in January.
And cigarette free 2 years?
Yeah.
And I'm proud of you.
And joy free for the last 30
no,
days.
But if you can survive through all this without it, but you don't strike me as like you're always like, I need it.
No, I'm not. I'm certainly not by clinical definition an alcoholic. So I'm not somebody that I don't feel that I suffer from the disease of alcoholism.
Yep.
I certainly think that I just have it's hard for me to slow my brain down.
Sure.
And I think right now, obviously, everybody wants an escape.
Yeah.
And it's just the frustration of like, we had this very comfortable existence in Georgia through all of this.
Mm-hmm.
And then we're like, all right, we did it. Let's go back. And then we're back. And then it was like, oh, work for a week. JK, now you're not working.
Well, I will say this. At least it gives us a great back and forth real comparison of like what we want for the next chunk of our life.
Well, totally. But that's also what makes, I think, this time so difficult for folks like you and I, where you're in this kind of pivot point because, I think that's what I'm so annoyed with is like, to me, true wisdom is just to say, we don't know. And so when everybody in positions of power right now keep trying to be like, well, we're just going to do this and nah, we're going to do this. I'm like, you don't freaking know.
I know.
Like what the point, it will do nothing to, unless it's just going back to this idea of flattening the curve, but like just a random 3 weeks is such a random pull. Well, we're just going to close it back down for 3 weeks.
3 weeks is like the amount of.
Now I feel like everybody's just going into the Capitol and just throwing ideas in a hat.
3 weeks.
And then they all just sit there for a while. And then Gavin goes, okay, puts his hand in the air. A couple people blow on it. And then he just goes into the hat and picks out a number And then he just goes, 3 weeks consecutive,
Yeah, that's
staying
like-
at home, 3 weeks.
That's like the amount of time, like
You don't know!
one of your buddies is like, "Yo, dude, should I text her? Wait 3 weeks. If she's DTF, she'll respond." You know,
I mean,
like
it's just so asinine to me.
I know.
So then I'm just even more frustrated. My collective frustration is that everybody, myself included, is allowing themselves to just go cuckoo frickin' bananas.
yeah,
You know, and it's like anybody frickin' knows anything.
I know. Well, hold
You
on.
know?
Let's put a pin in that. I want to jump into some fun articles I got. No, because we're gonna be ranting.
Just
But this I thought was funny. All right. And by the way, shout out. We got Tony, our engineer, in the studio today. He's helping us run some of the tech stuff. Yeah, Rachel, why don't you read this headline for us? You look so confused.
I'm so confused.
Yeah.
This says Taiwan's first pretend to go abroad tour takes off with fake flight.
Okay, now can you scroll down so we can read a little bit of this article? So I read it this morning in preparation, and this is sometimes you're stuck in quarantine, you miss some of the finer, the more like comfort creature things in life. Can you read that? You need to zoom in.
I'm just already mad.
Okay. What are you mad about?
60 eager travelers showed up to a Taipei. Is that how you say? Taipei airport on Thursday, boarding passes in hand to take a rather unusual trip. Their destination? Nowhere. Just punch me in the face. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Okay. Good. So it's basically, if you didn't figure it out.
Yeah, I get it. They're like taking fake flights places.
Right. They're not going. The plane doesn't take off. I don't think. I think they just or they might fly around and land.
Hold on. Here's my hot take on this, okay?
All right.
I don't like going to the airport when I am going somewhere.
Right.
I could never imagine being so bored that I'm like, it would be fun. Let's do a fake trip to the airport.
But that's
Let's go through all the stress of going to the airport.
Yeah.
And then we're not actually going to go anywhere.
But maybe the thought is it makes you appreciate not having to do that. You do it and you're like, oof, I don't miss that.
No, just sit at home and be quiet, light a candle, and write a list of things you're grateful for. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then just go back to being frustrated.
Well,
for the rest
Taiwan's
of the
pretty
day.
small, I think. I mean, I know it's a much smaller country than the U.S.
Also, though, the amount of money, like that's what I'm impressed with, that they're like, yeah, we'll just pay these, workers to be there and take like fake boarding passes.
I know,
like,
right?
wait, okay, hold on.
Yeah.
So
What's the point of that, though? I don't understand why they're doing a trial run.
I think they're doing it so that people just have something to do.
Okay.
That's all I gathered
in
from
early
it.
June, the airport's social media team asked those who would like to participate in a lottery to win a tour spot to share an airport. Over 7,000 people entered this thing.
Yeah.
Among those applicants, about 180 people or 60 passengers per flight were chosen randomly to join the half-day tour. So they just toured the airport?
Yeah. I mean, again, listen, I've never...
This really is the end of times. It really is. It really is.
I don't know how things are in China, or excuse me, in Taiwan, which is separate from China. But I would imagine... it's not clear if they get some other kind of reward as doing this, or they're just doing it because they're so bored.
Some other reward.
But, well, I don't know.
What are you talking about?
Like maybe they get maybe if they do it, they get some kind of TSA pre-check type thing or something. No? You don't think it's possible?
No. This was like a, hey, we're still fun, right? That's what this was.
You're so unhappy about this. God, what would make Rachel happy today? What would put you in?
I honestly don't know. And I get so...
It's been a rough morning. We got in a little bit of a tiff before the podcast.
I feel bad for taking up space with being angry.
Okay.
Okay? So like...
Because your life is pretty good otherwise?
Yes.
Yeah.
And also because... So anger is not an emotion that is available to girls, right? We are not socialized to be angry or express anger, right? That's generally... That's a masculine trait, right?
Okay.
Women aren't allowed to be angry. And if you are, right, we have tropes of like angry black women. Now we have Karens, right? There's nothing in our kind of collective space that shows that women are allowed to process anger. So... kind of going back to this idea.
There's one exception I'm going to challenge you on. There's one exception, and it's the angry, country singer female who got cheated on, and it's her power ballad of like, I'm gonna key his car and
well, right,
you know,
but then that was like the whole thing when everybody was talking about looting, and it was like, oh, if you're just, if you've ever been a white woman that's sang along to that, to that Carrie Underwood song, then you're not allowed to have an opinion on looting.
That
right?
is funny. I didn't hear that, but that's hilarious.
And I'm butchering the joke, but it was very funny.
Whose joke is that? Do you know?
It was just like a viral.
Oh, it wasn't like a famous comic.
No,
Yeah,
it was like
yeah.
a viral meme or something. But all of that is to simply say, where like, there's part of me where I'm like, oh, you should apologize for being angry because like it's not like appropriate or whatever, or like it's unfair. And it's also like, dude, it's totally fair. Like, more people right now should be walking around like, if you're not taking your anger out on other people, like, I think it's totally fine to be like, how are you today? I'm incredibly angry.
I think misguided anger or anger without purpose is the danger. Anger that motivates social change is wonderful. I mean, a lot of the progress we've made in this country and we're making today is a reaction to people's anger. I think that it's like, to your point, taking it out on other people in a unproductive or dangerous way. That's where it gets kind of tricky.
Right. But I'm just saying, so, when it's like, how are you? Like, I'm like mad. I'm mad. It's like we came all the way back here and then, and listen, I know this is not just happening to me. Let me be very clear, right? As the white woman in the room that's like, this is happening to me. My life is hard. Like, our lives will go on. We'll be fine, right? Yesterday I said that in the podcast of like, thinking about everything that's going on right now. And I'm always very clear to put it into context of like that no matter what happens, like based off of the families that you and I were born into and the color of our skin, like for the most part, you and I and our soon to be children, I'm not pregnant, but wishful thinking.
I get what you're saying.
We'll always be okay.
We don't, we
like,
yeah.
And I don't take that lightly. And so, I hear that and I understand that. And I know that that's very real. Right. But it's also saying, like, dude, you're still allowed to be mad. Like, it's still, like, super...
Who do you feel like is telling you you're not allowed to be mad? I've never told you that.
I know. No one, like, specifically, like, I'm not like, like, that old neighbor who told me I wasn't allowed to be angry.
Yeah,
like, but I'm just saying, like, I'm just expressing of, like, societally, we don't... even with men, we don't even really talk. We have like anger management classes, but we send people there after they've like lost their mind in public. Like, we don't teach anybody.
To generalize, men with unchecked anger get physically violent. Women, it's not as common. Women tend
right,
to,
but again, that's why I'm saying though we don't even talk about it within boys or within like. Obviously, some people are like more predisposed to like anger that becomes violent, but those are like mental health things. So I'm saying like. Overall, why is this so funny?
I'm just laughing at that. I thought this was going to be a funny topic to like make fun of. It just brought up like it just I'm just like throwing these softballs. Like, hey, here's something we can laugh at. There's no victimhood group here. It's just the airport in Taiwan trying a wacky idea.
And they're like, everybody come. And I'm like, dumb, hate it, morons, idiots, dumb.
Wait,
send them down.
Hold
no.
on. Let's go to the next article. Yeah, can you pull up that next article, Tony? Yeah. I'm just saying. I have a couple here. Okay, and some of these I'm realizing now that you're just that song like "Fuck It, I'm on one." That's
no. What's that song?
It's like a Drake. It's like a Hook and a Drake song. Like it's just him being like, "Screw everybody else. I'm doing me." All right, this is cool. This is fun.
Oh, this is cool. Yeah. But I said this weeks ago.
Well, read the headline.
Walmart is transforming its parking lots into drive-in movie theaters. Great. So let me say this, right? Like, because I told you this, and I was like, I love the drive-in. I think it's so romantic. I've always had this like very romanticized idea, probably from watching Grease.
Sure.
Was the first one. But also looking back, there was like a rather non-consensual sex scene that happened, and then she like had an abortion that they don't really talk about in the movie.
Wait, really?
Yes.
I don't remember that.
Yes.
Holy shit. Yeah. I got to go rewatch Grease.
So like looking back, I'm like, a couple of problems there. But I remember that was like my first thing that I thought it was like just there was something so romantic about it because we didn't have it growing up, right?
Yeah.
So there's something just like very romantic about it to me. But yeah, but I said that a couple of months ago where it was like I was reading on the podcast of like different not like businesses, but I guess like fields or things that are thriving due to
COVID. Yep.
and drive-in movies was one of them. You're like, yeah, not going to last. And then like went on. I'm like, okay, can we give drive-ins their moment?
Okay.
Drive-ins are having their moment and we need to honor it.
I stand corrected. I was too in my head of like thinking like, what, the quality is going to be bad. I'd rather just be at home. And then I stopped and thought, but it's like a thing to do. You're not going to go to the drive-in to see a new movie that you want to like take in for the first time in a great environment. You're going because it's like a kitschy thing to watch, like how we went to Cinespia at Hollywood Forever. You know, you go because it's outdoors and you're in this cool cemetery. And
yeah, and it feels like more of an activity. And you know what's great about the drive-in is if you don't end up having to sit in front of or behind people who like to talk through the whole freaking thing.
Yeah, well, unless you pick shitty people to be in the car with.
Well, you know.
It is a good, but I guess if you're...
I can't tell you. There is there's a special place for people who in the middle of something go, well, who's that? We don't know yet. They just walked into the scene.
Oh, like in the movie?
You know what I mean?
You know who does that all the time? My mom, Arlene Getlin.
She does. Oh, she does. When we, what were we watching? That terrible, The Night Clerk. That movie that was so bad.
Just asking questions through the whole movie.
It's so funny though, because I was trying to find something that like, I mean, I feel like all of us, we've like gone to see, we went and saw Frozen together. Like, you didn't go.
I had something else to do.
Or we saw Frozen 2 as a family, sans you. But anyway, like I feel like we like intellectually like all the same things. Talking about like your parents and I, like or you and I. We all like the same things.
We appreciate a good documentary.
Right, but I was like trying to find something that would be like non-controversial, something like we could all kind of have in the background but enjoy. And so I stumbled upon that very bad movie, but then it was so bad I like got invested. I don't know if that's ever happened to you where it's like
time.
It's so that sounds like we need to unpack that.
No, I just have a weird.
Is that movie, The Night Clerk?
Yes.
Have you seen it?
Did you watch it?
I saw the trailer and I was curious about it. So
it was very bad.
Tony,
don't waste your time.
No, I want you to watch it, and then we got to follow up on it.
Actually, yeah, go for it. Yeah.
You know, we got to follow up.
Well, it had potential. Like I feel like the premise could have been great. I think the lead actor was pretty solid.
He was great.
My favorite thing though was, and this happens a lot, and it makes me laugh because as a woman who's very funny and you work in Hollywood, you get so angry when you see these like ridiculous representations. Like I forget what the language you use exactly, but you're like these
manic pixie dream girl.
Yeah, you were just like, why? She is not the person to play.
I can spot a sex scene and tell you if a man or woman wrote that sex scene.
Wait, so why do you break it down for me? Because I also remember how angry you got watching that sex scene in that terrible movie Serenity between Anne Hathaway and Matthew McConaughey.
Ugh.
But what's the difference of a male written sex scene and a female written sex scene?
Because women write sex scenes the way that they happen. Men write them the way that they wish they would happen. Do you understand?
I don't disagree, but can you give me some examples?
So even remember in The Expanse, you were watching that last night, and there was this one, and I'm guessing the premise I was watching from the other room while I was cooking.
Yeah,
I'm a good wife, and
she made it great.
It was a goat cheese puree. I don't want to brag.
It was great.
It was good.
Yeah,
puree.
I
can't say the words, but it tasted good. So, I was in the kitchen doing those things, doing a good job, and you were in the other room and you were watching The Expanse or whatever, right? So I don't know. I guess it takes place like on another planet, or it's futuristic
I've only
or
seen
something.
I've only seen the first episode.
Anyway, the whole point was I looked over,
it's in outer space,
and there's like this close up on this woman who's like just experiencing this like insane orgasm, but then they're like floating or some shit.
Because they're in space. There's no gravity.
Right. And I was just like, no woman would write that. No woman would write that.
Why?
Because no woman in the middle of her workday would just be with this man and then just be like, you know, losing her mind in rapture. Because it doesn't work like that.
What are you talking about?
Because it doesn't work like that.
What if they were on like future Tinder and they just needed the, DTF?
Yeah, especially on Tinder is like probably the last place that a woman, like the likelihood that a woman is having an orgasm when having sex with a man for the first time is so low. I can't even, and men get so upset when I say that.
The idea
like
that
I said that to a guy friend of mine, and he was like, "That's not true," and I go, "Oh, it's true," and he's like, "I mean, just like." I don't know why I'm getting like squeamish about talking about sex on this because I know that there's a lot
we are
of people.
live.
No, I know, but I'm just saying. But also, like, I guess I'm an adult. I don't know why I'm like acting like I can't talk about it. But all of that is simply to say, so going back to The Night Clerk, right? They have this like beautiful, like, woman who's just like flown in from like Barcelona. I mean, she's like stunning.
She's a little bit too ridiculously attractive for the role. Like,
she is stunning. I mean, like, yeah, like I kept looking at her being like, I wouldn't even know what, like, my walk through life. I think I'm very beautiful. But when you see people that just like look like that, right? You're like, your existence on this planet's just different.
Mm-hmm.
Like, people engage with you differently. Like, to me, looking like that would be like carrying around like a piece of art everywhere I go. You know what I mean?
Privilege is kind of the ultimate privilege, huh?
It really is.
Yeah.
But it's also like, it's in the same way. I was thinking about this because we're still putting our apartment back together. We still have so much stuff everywhere. And I don't know why. And I was thinking about it where like, because I think I must have seen something on Instagram or, of like Kim and Kanye's house. And it's like literally looks like a museum.
Yeah.
And I'm like, but where do they like keep their things? Like, they have 4 children.
Sure.
Okay. So they tell us. Okay. They have 4 children. Right. Sorry, all of a sudden I just was thinking of their children's names, and I was like, I feel like they would like name one of their children's like encyclopedia. And then I was thinking Britannica, and then I was like, I'm actually surprised more people haven't named their kid Britannica. Anyway, this is the way my brain works. We talked about this in a previous
episode. Britannica is a character on Glow, and she's like,
she's
like the hot scientist.
Okay, then that makes sense. It was in like the recesses of my brain.
Yeah. So Kim and Kanye.
Okay. So anyway, so and then I want to get back to being super hot in America, but in the world. So. And then going back to Manic Pixie Dream Girl, and then we will progress. So I'm still here. Stay with me. What was it?
We started with the drive-in at Walmart.
Oh, I'm going to get back there. Okay. I've done improv for many years. I can do this. Okay. So Kim and Kanye, right? Yeah. But I was just thinking about where I'm like, what it must be like to be able to make a mess, because they have so much money that I was like, they don't clean their own house.
Yeah.
She probably doesn't know where their toys are. Because they just appear in a place, they play with them, and then they disappear again, and then she like takes pictures in her backyard, right? Like, that's her day, right?
I wonder how many handlers that they have.
So many. So many. Like,
you would have so much anxiety from that.
Why are there so many people in my home? Like, absolutely not. That's so weird. I don't like people around. Like, that's like...
You know what I will say? I used to think, like, when someone of that status had, like, one assistant and all the help went through the assistant, it was like they were a dick. Like, don't talk to me. But now I kind of get it, where, like, you just want to report to one person and they handle everything for it. Like, I could see you needing... If we ever had that sort of life, which I don't envision, but, if we were, like, multi-billionaires of that status... You would need like one secretary that responded to you, or like an assistant, and they're like, "Yeah, just I don't have it. My brain can't deal with the chef and the gardener and then this and then that." It just
I know, but then I, being the empath, would be like, "Okay, so it's not that I just want one assistant. I'm gonna have 3 of you because I feel like it's not fair to put all of this on one of you, right? I'm projecting way too much onto one person, and that's not fair, right? So there's 3 of you now, and then you can just." Take care. I can't even, like, I told you that I used
to... This is not our reality, by the way. Like, we're trying to figure out how to do our own
we're not
taxes.
Billionaires.
Like,
like, I remember I told you that where, like, I used to bite people when I was
little.
When
you were a kid, yeah.
Yeah, because, like, if people got too close to me, it's like, it was over. Like, I didn't know how to be like, I'm sorry.
You were like a feral cat.
Here's a boundary. Like, I need space. You don't know how to say that
how
when
old
you're
are
2.
You?
Like 2 and 3.
Oh, okay. So you were really little.
Yeah, I wasn't, like, 8 years old, like, biting people.
But didn't you try to quit school when you were 8?
Yeah, I did.
And your mom was like cool with it.
Well, semi, shout out to, she's always the number one homie. She basically said, okay, if you don't want to go to school, then you have to go to therapy and you have to talk about why you don't want to go to school. Now, of course, my very conservative father was like, what is happening?
No, I get no, I understand the emotion. Well, first of all, your mom is
she is a therapist.
She has like 7 degrees in mental health.
Right.
But I think that's actually good, like, to just say, no, kid, you're going to go and you're going to... Not that your dad did not do this, but I'm just saying, right? But that is pretty telling of, like, your mom's kind of ahead of the curve, because they're like, now we would tell parents, hey, if your kid hates school, figure out why. Don't just tell them, well, too bad. Be like, well, what do you hate about it? Maybe we could figure out what's going on.
Well, yeah, and it was... I always appreciated it, and I will say this, too, because I think... I've always been asked to, I will say a statement and I'll go, okay, so why? Mm-hmm. Like, I've always had to, I've kind of been instilled with this idea of like, sure, but what else? So I feel like in turn, I'm like actually very in touch with my emotions, which is why I'm like, okay, I'm starting to realize like right now I'm just like in a period of like I'm experiencing a lot of anger. I'm very angry about, the things that have been like taken away from me right now, the other dreams and things that I had in place. Like, I mean, full disclosure, it's like I have a television show that's in development that I was like very excited about, like what's going to happen. And now it's like, cool, so that's probably not going to happen, right? Like that feels very frustrating and angering.
But you always tell me, the importance of manifesting and, looking at like.
Yes, I manifested COVID.
Okay, but no, in all seriousness though, yeah, it's incredibly frustrating. I booked a role that was going to be a pretty solid chunk of money that got taken away.
Right.
We have to look at this as like a lateral move. The thing that doesn't make me feel as angry is it's happening to everyone.
Well, yeah, so I wanted to finish that because I
Okay,
feel like
yeah.
leaving it there as like a period is very problematic because I'm not like, I was supposed to do a thing and I can't. Which is still valid, right? Like it's valid that things.
That's your internal monologue.
I'm just like, so I'm done. I'm just internally, I'm like the girl at the bar who's always lost. I don't know where my friends are.
Yeah, she can't find her phone.
Where is Kristen? Where is Kristen?
God, remember those girls?
God, those poor. That's how I know that I was never truly an alcoholic because I was still shepherding those girls around the bar.
Yeah.
Like no matter how too many shots of Jameson I had, I was still the one that's like, let's find your friends. Let's find your friends for you. But.
Yeah, we were at a concert like a couple months ago, and you like became a mom to these drunk kids that were like falling over. You were like,
where were we?
Remember we were at the Palladium?
Yeah.
And there was that guy that was not, and you were like, sir, you were like trying to like.
Oh my God.
He was like, he could not have been older than 19, right? And like 130 pounds.
I mean, just those children. But that's why I was like, I can't go to music concerts anymore.
Concerts?
Well, mostly because
you can't go to music concerts?
Mostly because I'm 100 years old now and I've aged out of
But
music concerts. Well, I can't go to them anymore.
But like
the music concerts, it's just too loud.
But like before, we had some edibles. We were like getting into it, we were vibing. You're having a good time.
I was really high at that concert.
Yeah, and then you see this like teenager just falling over everybody, and you immediately turned into like concerned mom, like right away.
Well, because I'm like, dude, you don't know. If you don't know how to properly take recreational drugs, like stay at home because you just make it worse for everybody else. It was the last time at Lollapalooza and I'm walking around handing out bottles of water to like 15-year-olds who are taking Molly and like drinking Bud Light Limes all day in 90-degree heat. Like, dog, you gonna pass out.
Dude, that's a funny character you should write. Like the girl who's like prepping for the same persona of the girl that like preps for the party at her house. She's the like making sure everybody has their like drug-free kits.
Hi, I'm Ruby. I often go to music concerts, and I just want to help. I'm a helper. So
does Ruby work for Coachella?
No, this is just a volunteer thing. So, okay, so Kim and Kanye, if we had more time.
We got about 20 minutes, by the way.
So I'm experiencing a lot of anger. But so again, from quitting school and being asked, in the third grade of like, okay, so why are you feeling this way? So it's like right now I know that like, okay, I'm angry because I'm being asked to pivot. I'm being asked to, as a way all of us are of like, all right, what else do you got? So you got to this thing and now something totally different happened. All right, what else do you have? And as somebody who has spent the last, good couple years of my life in heavy amounts of like intellectual and spiritual and like physical growth, I'm angry because I'm like, what else do you want? I'm like, I quit drinking. I got in a healthy relationship. I'm settling down in the ways that are like appropriate and healthy.
You don't smoke
like,
anymore.
I don't smoke. Yeah, where I'm like, what else do you want?
Better diet, less sugar.
Yeah, where I'm like, I'm nurturing my body. I'm not making it about like being thin. Like, I'm like, what does my body need right now? Like, I'm doing all of the things that you're supposed to do, and yet I'm still mad. Like, it's freaking makes me.
You're a healthy mad, though.
Yes.
Yeah, that's
Thank
true.
you, Tony.
It's always better that than like a angry drunk.
Yeah, and so I think that's just what I want to express of like somebody right now is feeling that cuckoo freaking bananas. Just knowing like it's okay. And like I think it's so much better to like I think I'm just also frustrated because it's like I woke up and I was like I could feel that I was angry and I'm like, God, it's not dissipating.
Yeah.
And then you get mad at yourself because you're like, oh, I'm now choosing it. And instead of saying, oh, I'm choosing it, of saying, no, it's just the emotion you need right now in order to get to whatever the next thing is. And like, give yourself grace and give yourself the space to be like, I'm not choosing this. And then what can I do to take care of myself, knowing that I'm experiencing these feelings? So if today and for the foreseeable future, I'm really angry because I'm being asked to challenge myself yet again, and I know better than to act out or to go get drunk or to, like act out emotionally towards my partner, okay, then maybe the option is just like stay at home and take a bath.
But we're pretty good about coming to and be like, I'm sorry. That was not.
No, totally. Our conflict resolution is like, I would say if I was like scoring our relationship, we get like very high scores on conflict resolution.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
Just saying.
Okay, we don't have a ton of time left. I want to do.
Can I go back to Manic Pixie Dream Girl?
Yeah.
Because then I think
finish that, and then I want to do one more article.
Okay. So in The Night Clerk, this Manic Pixie Dream Girl, it's just this idea where we create this like woman who does not exist.
Right.
But then we make her like, and she's always like slightly broken. Like she's always been like, just like in some sort of toxic relationship with a man who's like 6'3", right?
Yeah,
and like,
right.
Yeah.
It's like
and
that
it's like,
guy. Okay.
yeah. And it's like she knows better, but like can't, like she's like broken because she's hot. And it's just like, which also then like still feeds into the stereotype that like if women that look like that, they're not allowed to be in control of themselves.
Right.
Like we're even writing and endowing them of like, and I have to check my own judgment on that. Like I'll see a super hot girl, I'm like, yeah, I don't have to talk to her because she's got nothing to say. She's hot, so she hasn't had to develop any other skills because we haven't asked her to. But it's also like, well, then that's not fair.
Yeah, and also maybe she got hot way later, so then like maybe she had it rough. Learned to develop a personality and interesting thoughts, and then in her adulthood became hot.
I mean,
what's up?
She was blessed with beauty. After
Yeah, there you go.
Also,
you could still be interesting and hot as a young person. It's just less likely.
Yeah,
But okay, so Pixie Dream Girl.
So I'm just saying that's what I won't get into all of that because we don't have a lot of time left. I'm just saying that is, in conclusion. And hey, hit me up if you are really fascinated by the Manic Pixie Dream Girl space. I'm happy to talk about it because I think it's very fascinating.
Manic Pixie Dream Girl sounds like if you had an all-female punk band that you fronted, that would be what you call your guys. Mm-hmm. No?
I just started screaming in my head, and
why? At me?
I'm like, so I'm just nuts right now, man.
Are rage rooms open? I feel like that's a thing that we should make an essential business.
That's the most intelligent thing I've heard you say in a long time. Are you like 100%? Are you kidding? There would be lines around the block to break shit right now.
I would like to go to the gun range, but you're probably not into that.
I don't know if I would enjoy it too much. Is that a very dark thing to say? I don't know.
Well, shooting a target isn't. Okay, anyway, let's do one more
That's
article.
got to be power. I mean, to shoot like just a handgun, I think that would
You've
freak
never
me
shot
out.
You've never shot a gun, right?
No.
Yeah.
I've held one physically. I dated a cop for a while.
It's a weird. I know, it's just like funny. It's like he let me hold his piece. It's like, all right. I mean,
well, because I felt very uncomfortable having it in our house.
Sure.
And so he was like, I want to show you.
Even as someone who's like I don't want to get into the topic of police right now, but I was saying because theoretically he'd be very well trained in how to use it. Of
course, but I think for me, where I was like, I felt uncomfortable having it in the house, and so it was like I like kind of that idea of like you're scared of what you don't know. So kind of had me like,
I think that's good. Well, that's the one thing I kind of roll my. Listen, I'm not a gun advocate. I have kind of I understand. I don't own one yet. I could see myself owning one in the future. I understand the need for them, but I'm not like a gun nut. But I think it's very ignorant when people seem to have a super concrete anti-gun stance and have never used one, learned about them. Like I don't know. It's sort of like. But anyway, I don't want to. Yeah, well, let's jump into the next. Yeah.
Okay, but yeah, I'm totally on board because I told you at the Tribeca Film they're doing all their stuff at the Rose Bowl, and so I'm totally down to. No.
Well, good and bad. Good and bad. Okay, so Ozark to end with season 4, final 14 episodes to run in 2 parts. All right, now.
So they're making season 2 in 2 parts.
Yes.
Which basically means they started shooting season 2 or season 4 and then had to stop because of COVID.
Right.
So they're going to release what they have and then release it in a second.
Yeah.
That's what happened.
Are you an Ozark guy, Tony?
I have to watch it over. We started the first episode and just got sidetracked with the baby.
Oh, okay. Well, fatherhood will do that.
Yeah.
Actually, we're family we're pre-planning family stuff. We're not there yet, but we're hoping, God willing.
It's only about 4 months away.
I know we're in the the final stages of getting ready. Any new dad tips? Any sagely advice for us?
I mean, it's kind of weird having a kid like with the world shut down. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So
this is your
like,
first kid, right?
First kid.
Yeah.
I mean, we're gonna have another kid. I'd love, might as well have a partner to
Sure.
watch the world burn with. Like there's like an odd morbidness when you're like having a kid right now with all the shit that's going on. And my kid's biracial, so my wife's black. So our kid, with this whole second civil rights movement,
Sure.
Interesting.
Yeah.
It's a very weird time, to be like having a male, baby boy. But I recommend you do it before the, like I told you, get that Indiana Jones that shit. Get it in before the buzzer. Have your kids get married
Before the world ends, is that the buzzer,
Plan
Tony?
for the best, exactly.
Okay.
Yeah. Is the buzzer like World War III?
I honestly, I don't know. Sometimes I think about stuff because there's I was watching. I don't know if you guys watch on Netflix like the History 101.
Oh yeah,
we love it.
We
It's
eat up
great.
that shit.
So you saw how many plastic bags are used per
Mhm.
minute. There's
Oh, yeah.
a million plastic
Oh,
bags.
yeah.
And I don't know if you noticed this during the whole COVID thing, but every time you go to Ralph's, Albertsons, there's no more bring your own bags, and they're not charging you for bags. They're back to those little thin bags that get
Right.
caught in wind gusts and shit. And stuff.
Yep.
And they're handing out straws at every fast food place. I'm like, what the fuck happens? Like, all right, we're worried about this virus killing us, but let's ramp up the plastic production again.
Yeah.
I know. Well, that to me just shows none of these regulations and efforts. We can't stick to anything. But I don't freak out. I do a little bit, but I just stop and I think, society, we've been through so many things. We'll figure it out. I just watched this documentary about what's going to happen when the ice caps officially fully melt. And at a certain point, you just have to be like, look, dude, I'm just going to get through each day one at a time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting, but that goes back to my favorite Bill Burr bit where he talks about, I have insomnia. I can't sleep. And my wife's like, why can't you sleep? I don't know. I'm just thinking about all the trash that's just in the middle of the ocean.
Yeah.
That doesn't keep you up at night. Just going to sleep. Ha, hey, ha. Bunch of trash, middle of the ocean.
But I want to jump on Ozark real quick. I think this is a good move because it's...
Oh, I think every episode. I think that is my biggest issue as somebody who writes for television, because it's always like, okay, well, if you want to sell your show, then you have to be able to prove that it can go for 9 seasons.
It's so
and I'm like,
stupid.
that's so dumb. And I understand that it's that's what makes me angry, where I'm like, how about instead of looking for longevity, you're looking for an array of really good stuff that you can continue to churn out, because it's going to cost you the same amount of money. And then in the long run, as a studio, you're going to make more money. If I was a studio head, that's what I would be saying. I'm like, that's why BBC works.
Yeah.
It's 3 seasons and you're done. Because then you get into season 7, season 8, season 9.
So I think those, the multi-crazy long seasons, that is good for unscripted, a show like Pawn Stars, right?
Sure.
You don't need anything to develop.
Right, you can meet so many different Toms.
That, right? But in some comedy, it works. I think It's Always Sunny, South Park, a lot of those, where, again, it doesn't work when
Well,
you
an
have...
animated series can go for a long time, too.
But when it's scripted, heavy character development, there's no way, you can't sustain that. It's just not possible. There's no way to, because you have to hit that perfect balance of realistic storylines, interesting, heightened emotion. Because I never really looked at TV this way. I don't write television, so watching it with you is opened my eyes to things that I never considered. You're like, yeah, this is a terrible way to do the story arc. And you'll just it's kind of cool, a little bit annoying sometimes when you'll just start picking apart that character would never do this, and so.
Well, it's just annoying because you can tell that somebody had to compromise in a story room.
Yeah.
Story room, writer's room.
Yeah. Are you sure you write for TV?
And I don't know, guys.
A story
I
room?
don't know if I ever will again. I don't know.
I mean,
if
what's
I will.
TV going to turn into?
I don't know.
The floor is lava. That is television now.
I'll tell you what, though. You watching that?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
What do you think about that?
Oh, I think it's great.
Yeah.
I mean, I fast forward because, again, from the idea of where it's we're 3 brothers, but we're all left-handed. Only one of us is married, and the other 2 are bachelors. I don't need your story. It's so... I've just sat through so many castings of things like that I'm just yeah, I'm not here for that. So I was just fast forward that, but actually watching people trying to figure out how they would navigate the actual
Course?
yeah, there we go. I think is I could watch that all day
Well,
long.
what I'm sure is coming once the world reopens is cities like Vegas are going to have the floor is lava experience.
Yeah.
And then you and your friends can sign up and do it and then get a video
I
of
hope
your
so.
course.
I mean, I think that we should just I think we should let go of all of our other dreams, you too, Tony, and we should just open up rage rooms and floor is lava rooms.
Sure.
And I think it's going to be great. And then we will actually be billionaires. And then I can hire 3 assistants and say, hey, I don't want to see anybody else's faces. Not because I'm too highfalutin, but because I am incredibly sensitive. And being around that many people stresses me out.
The last thing I want to do.
And then I can name our 3rd child Britannica.
The last. You're down for 3 kids now.
No, it was a joke.
Oh.
Just to pitch.
She only wants 2. I want 4 if we have the money, but
I am 34.
we don't have to birth all of them. We can rescue some.
Even just
I like that idea too. I mean,
Thank you.
I think if you get a kid when you can afford one, an extra one, you know, you bet a bonus kid 5 years from now. I'm not trying to have a brand new kid If I have a 5-year-old kid 5 years from now, we're even. I'm in the water. He's trained and stuff.
Listen,
he's trained.
That's funny. You grew up as an only child. You would not recommend it.
No.
So
I've spent way too much time thinking, and this is it, you know?
So what's the opposite? 3 siblings. Or 1 sibling, but, you know.
Alex, are you from a family of 4 yourself?
No, I've got 1 brother. But
Okay.
but I have friends. My father has 3 siblings, and that seems pretty cool. You
I
know.
come from a family of 4, and it's nice having. There's 2 boys, 2 girls.
There you go. Yeah.
It's girl, boy, boy, girl. So we all have like our matches and stuff that lines up. But the 1 kid dynamic seems, very intense.
Yeah. No, I was just thinking of something. I was like, I don't know if I can stand behind saying this because it's kind of a joke, but I also kind of mean it. But I think it's okay to say. But so if I offend somebody, I apologize. But where I was thinking about of like, you know, as I've like worked through different issues with my parents and things like that over the last couple of years, and I was talking about stuff with my mom recently, and she was like, well, you know, like you're also not going to be a perfect mom. You know, like you're gonna, you know, there's going to be some things that you know that you.
Dude, shout out to Sue.
You know, so I know that you're thinking you're going to do it perfect, okay? But you're not. But then I was thinking, I'm like, gosh, could you imagine having your adopted child angry at you? Or like, they're like, I'm not even yours, you know? Like, I'm like, gosh, the amount of like
yeah.
vitriol that they could throw your way because they're angry at you, you know?
Well, I just considered this. Like, then you have to think about the siblings fighting. Like, well, you're not even biologically their kid.
Oh, no. If I had even young kids saying stuff like that, I'd be like, let me introduce you to lawn work.
I used
because
to, when I was really little, I used to tell Scott he was adopted.
I'm not surprised by that.
Okay, we got to wrap it up, but I want to click on the link that's from Deadline because we'll do this really fast. I want your thoughts on this. I'm very torn, but it's one of those things where it's like, all right, at this point, guys, like, what else are we gonna do? You know, like, it's at the bottom of the last one on the email. Yeah.
Oh no.
Well, the ad popped up. Hold on. Just click on us.
You will be
Skip ad right there.
redirected to your article in 3, 2, 1.
It's all right. Yeah, there we go.
0 seconds.
All these pop-ups. God, the internet.
The world is ending.
You scroll down.
And
There we go.
everything
Okay.
is melting.
So read
We're
this-
all gonna die.
Read this headline.
We're all gonna die. Santa Monica joins West Hollywood and Beverly Hills in issuing fines for anyone not wearing a mask in public.
How do you feel about that?
I mean, I think it's fine, but I'm also not somebody who feels like I'm being brainwashed or that my civil
But check
liberty
this
is
out.
being taken away.
$750. So, $500 for businesses, $500 for a first offense, $750 for a second. For individuals, starts at $100, then $250, then $500 for a third violation. I mean, if you don't learn after the first one, though, I gotta get. My only question is, where does the money go? What is it going towards? If I'm okay with the fines to keep people in line, but I want to know where. I already don't trust the city. I know these are their own mini cities inside of LA, but I already don't trust our governments to like use this money appropriately. Where's it going?
Yeah, well, Beverly Hills, they're just going to put more of that money in a pot to be like, we don't want homeless people. So we know where Beverly Hills is going to spend it. Do you live in Beverly Hills, Tony?
No.
Okay.
What? Yeah, I mean,
Feels like I do, and I'm on the board. And you're right. That's where the money's going. I can confirm that's where the money's going. Sorry, I just had so many thoughts go through my head. I don't know. I mean, I honestly, I haven't really, you know me, I'm vocal about most things, but I haven't really come out to say anything about the whole like wearing a mask debate, because it's like there's definitely some people that are like, this is more of them like, you know, taking away your rights and this and that. And I'm just like, but those are still also the people that like, you know, vote against other people's rights. So
Yeah,
it just goes back into like, it's all, for me, the mask debate is like not worth my breath versus like right now where I'm like, I'm really choosing to place a lot of my energy is on the anti-racism.
Well, that matters much
movement.
more.
That's what I'm saying. That is a thing that has oppressed people since the beginning of America and long before that. So really wanting to educate and talk about these things, especially like inherent bias and, you know, and all these things we've been talking about. Right. And so that's where it's just like the people that are like blowing their wad on this whole mask debate. Like, I'm just like, stay the fuck at home.
To me, it's very simple. It's just the absurdity of people seeing, oh, the other team, quote unquote, is pro-mask, so I'm going to be anti-mask. There's you know what I mean? It's just so I get the inconvenience. Like, to me, when I'm working out, I really hate having the mask on. So if I'm not near anyone, I'll pull it down. If somebody walks near me, I'll pull it up. I get that. But going out day to day and just the idea of this is where I lose people, right? It's like, oh, they're just trying to control us. I'm not wearing the mask, trying to control us. Okay, do you have a cell phone? Yes? Then you lost me, because that is way more controlling of your day-to-day than the fucking mask.
But that's what I mean, and it kind of then circles back to what you were talking about, Tony, of like, you know, where we know how bad plastics are. We know how like we're literally hitting a point of saturation where there's no being able to get rid of them, right? But then we're also like, well, we're in a pandemic, so like bring on the plastic. So it's that same thing. Like there really is this paradox of, if we were really trying to be invested in every single area of humanitarianism and of the globe, our society would stop. Yeah. Because we wouldn't use probably half of the products that are in this room. We wouldn't have phones. We would literally have to be like living off the land and like circling back to like pioneer towns and starting all over again. So obviously,
if it all falls apart, we might end up doing that.
And but that's what I'm saying. There was like some sort of quote that it was like, still be kind to the people that, you know, are vegan, but then also like have too much plastic in their house, or be kind to the people that are like talking about like, you know, body shaming, but also like basically being like, you can't be for every cause.
Sure.
Like it's impossible.
Totally.
You can't be for every cause. And so there is an element of like, and I think that's where the hypocrisy comes in of like, it's totally fine if your point of view is I shouldn't have to wear a mask because I live in a country that has freedom. And then you're also allowed to, right. But then you're also allowed to say, that you believe that abortion is wrong and you can vote against it, but you have to understand, you like, for me, in order to take you seriously, you would have to say, I understand the hypocrisy in that, but it's just what I believe.
Yeah.
But like when you are unwilling to acknowledge that hypocrisy, that's where it becomes idiocracy for me.
Totally. And on that note, we got to wrap it up because we got some other stuff going on soon.
All right, guys. This has been so fun again. Second time around.
So we will
be back on Monday, per usual. I might still be angry. I might not be.
Well, we're going to go on a bike ride this weekend and try and pedal out some of that anger. But listen, guys, so as per usual, we'll be back 8:30 Eastern, 5:30 Pacific for our regular Monday live stream. And we'll probably do some other impromptu live sessions in between, because why not? There's nothing else going on. So
we got nothing to do, guys. Nothing to do. Send me your recipes.
Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Shout out to our engineer Tony today for chiming in. And
Tony,
we'll see you guys Monday.
Okay, bye. Love you.